So I'm standing here ready to walk out the door, take my puppy for a walk, and I thought it would be a great time to record a video. So back in I came, grabbed my camera, and I thought, I'm by myself today. It's a Saturday. I had some VIP clients again this weekend, and my husband went and saw his mom. So I don't know about you, but mother-in-law issues tend to be one of the biggest things that I talk to clients about. I don't know what it is about father-in-laws. Maybe sometimes they're easier, but mother-in-laws, we have that horrible reputation for being just difficult and a pain. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about that today. So I'm going to sit down in my chair, and we're going to talk mother-in-laws. So here's the deal. I have a mother-in-law, and I have a mother-in-law. And I learned about being a good mother-in-law from my mom. She was really willing to let us go. She didn't get in our business. She didn't, contradict or condemn our husband. She was a good listening ear, but it was very easy for my husband to feel like he could get along with her. Now I can only hope that my son-in-law feels that way. I try to give him and his wife space, and we try not to butt into their business, but in-laws are a tricky thing. Very rarely in premarital coaching do you have the conversation of, what do you think of my mom? What do you think of my dad? How are we going to deal with it when they are Budinskis? Usually that comes up after the wedding, after the I-do's, after the very first big blow up about mother-in-laws, father-in-laws, just that in-laws. It's going to be a time when we all have to be together, when families just have to put up and shut up at one level to get along. Now I'm talking about families with good boundaries, healthy families or reasonably healthy families where, it's not toxic. Sure, I get on my son-in-law's nerves. Sure, there's things that my husband says that, I go, oh, be supportive of our, son-in-law. We really try to give them their space and respect that they're their own couple. But it's hard. There's times when, you have this conversation with your husband where you say, but this is how we always did it, or this is how my dad did it, or this is how my mom did it. And so today, as I was thinking about the fact that my husband was going up to spend time with his mom and I was not going along, and for years I felt guilty. And all of a sudden I realized if I'm working on a Saturday and he goes and spends the day with his mom, she got her kid all to herself. There was no in-law issues, it was just mom and son. So I was actually doing them a favor. Now 32 years into marriage, we finally learned how to get along a little bit better. We're very different, two very strong women, what a surprise. So it took a lot of conversations when we were first married to figure out where the boundaries were, what she could say, what she could do, where she could have an opinion. And it was okay that she had an opinion. I just didn't necessarily want her to share it with John or with me. Here's a couple of thoughts. Have the tough conversation. I talked about that in another video. Be willing to think of 3 positive things you love about your in-laws. Start with that. I love that your mom bakes your favorite food when she comes over. I love that she sends my husband home with leftovers. I love that she raised you to be a hard worker and that she plays with our grandkids. But sometimes it's hard for me when she makes comments about what I cook or don't cook, or that we don't have the most traditional roles for husband and wife. And so as we have that conversation, we can have it calmly and peacefully. He doesn't feel like I'm slamming his mom, and we're able to have a conversation and figure out how to best handle it. What I most want in those moments is for him to speak up and say, you know what, Mom, we're good. Susie does things that stay-at-home moms or you, Mom, never did. And I do things that Dad didn't do. But we're good, and that's how we run our lives. Here's the other tip. Number 1, talk about it. But number 2, affirm, affirm, affirm. When your mom or dad says something about your spouse that is less than amazing, you want to step in and stick up for them. There's nothing better than hearing your spouse go, you know what, Dad? I love the way he manages our money. Or you know what, Mom? I love the fact that she has a career and I get to, be home with the kids or do Mr. Mom stuff. So take a minute and pause and know that all your spouse wants in those moments is for you to stand in front of your parents and say, she's great or he's great because. That's my tip for Better Relationship TV, and I'll see you next week.